Hi, this is your host. Frogs can survive just about anything, from freezing cold temperatures to complete dehydration. And in today's episode, we'll be discussing 4 reasons why frogs are nature's great survivors. Number 1. Freezing temperatures. There are approximately 6,000 species of frogs alive today, and they can be found on every continent on Earth. Some species of frogs can be found in very cold climates, such as the Arctic, where temperatures can reach as low as -40 degrees Fahrenheit or -40 degrees Celsius. In these conditions, most animals would freeze and die, but not the frogs. When their body temperature begins to drop below freezing, frogs will begin a process called supercooling. This allows their body temperature to drop below freezing without actually turning into ice. Supercooling happens when the water inside of their cells freezes, but the cells themselves remain intact. As long as the frog doesn't move while its body is frozen, it won't be damaged. They basically become like a popsicle, but instead of juice, their bodies are full of concentrated solutions of sugars, proteins, and other organic molecules that have a lower melting point than water. This allows them to survive the sub-zero temperatures until their body temperature rises again and they thaw out. Once they become warm, their bodies move around, and the ice in their cells melts back into liquid water. Their survival depends on the rate at which they cool and warm up. If they cool down too quickly or if they warm up too quickly, the ice in their cells will expand and rupture the cells, causing them to die. However, if they cool and warm up slowly, they will survive with no ill effects. To help them survive these harsh conditions, Arctic frogs also have special adaptations such as proteins in their blood that further lower the freezing point of their body fluids. And during the winter, they enter a state called torpor, where their metabolism slows down dramatically, allowing them to conserve energy and survive on very little food. It's kind of like a really long nap. So freezing temperatures don't slow these little guys down. No. 2. Dehydration. Frogs are also able to survive without water for long periods of time. In dry climates, frogs must stay moist in order to survive. If they dry out, their skin will become hard and they won't be able to move around. This could potentially lead to death. However, frogs have several adaptations that allow them to retain moisture and survive in dry environments. One way they do this is by seeking shelter in moist places during the day when it's hot and they're more likely to dry out. They're more active at night when it's cooler and there's more moisture in the air. Also, some frogs have special adaptations to help them hold on to their moisture, such as thicker, more flexible skin that reduces water loss through evaporation. And certain species even have the ability to produce mucus that acts as a sort of protecting their skin from the drying effects of the sun. And even though frogs can't survive being frozen, some species can survive being dried out to such an extent that they lose 80% of their body weight. And when rehydrated, they can actually absorb water fast enough to rehydrate their entire body within only an hour. Now, although frogs can survive being frozen and dried out, no. 3. They can also survive being frozen and then dried out. During droughts, some frogs retreat to burrows where they enter a state of similar to hibernation. Except it's during the summer. When frogs are in estivation, their metabolism slows down, and they can survive without food or water for months. However, sometimes there are predators that seek them out while they're in these vulnerable states. Hibernating frogs and toads can be easy targets for hungry predators. So some frogs have evolved the ability to secrete a poison from their skin that deters predators. The poison is usually a neurotoxin, meaning it affects the nervous system of the frog's prey. And this adaptation has been especially important for frogs that hibernate in areas where there are lots of predators, like in the grasslands. Poison-dot frogs, for example, are brightly colored, which warns off would-be predators that they're poisonous. While they're hibernating, they're more susceptible to predation, so they need all the help they can get. No. 4. Habitat destruction. Even when frogs' habitats are destroyed, they can still survive. Some species of frogs have the ability to travel long distances over land in search of new habitats. For example, in 2002, a group of 1,000 red-eyed tree frogs were found 22 miles away from their original habitat after they were blown there by Hurricane Iris. Red-eyed tree frogs are not great at climbing, but they managed to make the journey after their habitat was destroyed. And one of the main reasons they were able to survive the journey was because they stayed moist. The frogs traveled during the night and took shelter under logs or leaves during the day when it was hot. They probably got pretty thirsty during their travels, but they didn't drink any water. Instead, they absorbed water through their skin. Although red-eyed tree frogs don't usually travel 22 miles looking for new habitats, they are capable of moving long distances if their habitats are destroyed. So even if their homes are destroyed by humans or natural disasters, they can still find new homes and survive. Frogs are truly amazing creatures that can survive in a variety of habitats and extreme conditions. From the Arctic to the desert, frogs have adapted to life on Earth in some of the most inhospitable environments. So next time you see a frog, remember that it's not just a cute little creature hopping around in your backyard. It is a tough survivor that has been around for millions of years and has the ability to withstand things that would kill most other animals. Thanks for watching.